It's just, I don't know. I don't know. They can feel about race like sometimes. So Marvel is rumored to be bringing back a T'Challa into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Oh my gosh. So this has been something that if you watch E-Man from E-Man's reviews, you know this has been a big thing that he authored. I edited. I actually have footage of it where he admits that if he's the author, I'm the editor of the Recast T'Challa campaign, or at least the petition.org article. Um, Recast T'Challa is a big thing for folks who love the character of Black Panther T'Challa. He's got a history dating back, I think, to the 1960s, where he appeared in a Fantastic Four comic. He's had his own comics, he's had his own stories. He's a hugely successful character, especially in Disney. I believe he is the highest grossing domestic superhero film of all time, right? I'm pretty sure Black Panther has earned more than the Avengers movies in the United States, sitting at like 700 and something million in the United States alone, especially for a film that I don't even think did well, like not did well, but it just did really, really well in the United States. So it was, for me and others, it was heartbreaking to learn about the passing of the actor who was portraying him, Chadwick Boseman. And then we got a double whammy with when we found out that Marvel chose to kind of bench the character, so to speak, for a while. T'Challa's or Black Panther Wakanda Forever didn't feature T'Challa and told one of his most essential storylines without him, with his feud with the Atlanteans and Namor. And now they're talking about the possibility of bringing in another person to play T'Challa. Now, it might not be the same T'Challa that Chadwick Boseman played. It could be a version of the T'Challa that was introduced at the end of Wakanda Forever and aged up. It could be a variant from a different universe. But they're finally in a circumstance where we're hearing rumors that they might bring in a new person to play T'Challa in the next couple of films, which I think is well overdue. Bring this character back. It was like, to me, it would be like, heaven forbid, an actor played Superman and hurt himself and couldn't play the character anymore. And they were just like, oh, we're just not going to use Superman anymore. We'll get, I don't know, Mon-El or Supergirl or someone else to do the storylines for Superman. We'll have someone else fight Doomsday. That's cool, right? Like, what? Can you imagine a Superman movie with Doomsday attacks and Superman ain't in it? Like, just no Superman at all? Like, I think people would be like, why did you tell such a essential uh classic story about this character without this character featured in it? That's what they do in the Sony comic book movies. Like, why are we doing all these movies about Spider-Man without Spider-Man? It's like, why? So they did that with Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I don't like that they did that, but now we're getting an opportunity to potentially see this character return. I'm curious what people want to see. If you guys are Black Panther fans like I am, like, if you guys can see my wall, I've got Black Panther comics and posters on my wall. It's like you guys only see a small portion of the wall. Like, it's pretty massive. But yeah, I'm excited about this news. I don't know what everyone else is thinking. Matter of fact, let me see if any of you guys are commenting on it. Sometimes you guys are like, when are we getting back to From? But let's see. The character, Elizabeth Jaramillo says, the character deserves to get a recast. I'm sure Chad wouldn't want the character to not continue on. He said that. Matter of fact, he did an interview before his passing where he was like, I want this to be a generational character. It should be like James Bond, and everybody gets to have their favorite iteration of the character. I know some people who swear by Sean Connery as James Bond. For me, Pierce Brosnan. For others, it's Daniel Craig. and so on, and many, many others, right? Everybody has their favorite James Bond actor. And he wanted T'Challa to be like that. Everybody can have their favorite T'Challa actor. People have their favorite Spider-Man, right? We got Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, and many others. Um, and we get to pick our favorite. You know, not one cancels out the other. My biggest thing was that I remember sometimes I realize I live an amazing, blessed life. So I got to actually meet producer Nate Moore, who is the producer for one of the executive producers for the Black Panther films, the executive producer on the Captain America films. He's part of the Marvel Parliament along with Kevin Feige that kind of oversees all of the MCU. And we kind of talked, and me and E-Man were there, and we were like, yo, T'Challa, bro. Or better yet, what's this Wakanda series that you like? What is happening? And he kind of alluded to the fact that, and I think Kevin Feige said the same thing, that uh, the decision, the influence for the final decision, because obviously they don't get to make the final decision. Kevin Feige and Bob Iger do, but the influence for the final decision came from like the directors and the cast of the Black Panther movie, because in their mind, Black Panther was Chadwick Boseman. T'Challa was Chadwick Boseman, and they felt like it might be dishonoring their memory, or they just had too much sentimental attachment to Chadwick Boseman in this role. And I get this to a degree because I'm not like a performing artist like I was in college. I used to try to act. Like an illustrator. I kind of get that, right? Like you don't really want someone else drawing Savage Dragon besides Eric Larson. You really want to see Todd McFarlane draw Spawn. You really want to see Jim Lee draw that. Like you don't really want to step as an artist. You probably really don't want to step into the shoes that somebody put such a huge stamp on. So I understand to a degree where a lot of actors, performers, directors were like, no, man, that's Chad's role. But they're not thinking about it in the same way as a lot of comic book fans or fans of the character or cartoon fans who saw him in Avengers, Earth Mightiest Heroes, or whatever other medium he was in. They not thinking about it like some people were sitting here waiting 60 years for this character to get a movie. And then after he gets one movie, he gets benched. They weren't thinking about it like that. They were just more so thinking, our friend Chad passed away. I really don't want to touch this right now. I get it. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. I want this character to be treated the same way James Bond, Superman, Spider-Man is, that if something happens, let this mantle pass on to another actor to step into this role and get as big of a glow up as Chadwick did. I remember when he got this movie, he got this role, he got a huge boost to his career. Stepping into a Marvel movie is a huge deal. It's a huge deal. People who don't know your name will know your name, even if just for a little while. So yeah, Black Panther was a lot of Black Americans' first Marvel movie. That's not surprising at all. No, no, it's not surprising. And the hype was there. The hype was there for that one. Let's see. Nope, Blade Wesley Snipes. So Blade was recast for Mahershala Ali. It's just Marvel's just not getting the movie out. I don't not happy about it, but we're supposed to have another Blade by now, and I hope they both get to do the role. I hope that eventually, when we do get Blade, we get to do the multiversal thing like we did with other characters, and we get to see them interact with each other. I want Mahershala to have his time to shine. I want Wesley to continue on in the role. He's who I got introduced to, and I love it. So I hope that we get to see them both. Michael Jai White Spawn. He was the first Black one. And I talked to Todd McFarlane about it. Damn, I talked to a lot of people. um, One thing I think I did ask him. I have to listen back to my interview. Todd McFarlane was my first professional interview for somebody you guys might remember that from my live from before. Um, and I was so curious as to why he wanted to make, when he left Marvel, he left Spider-Man, peak of his career. Why did he want to create a Black superhero? I just didn't understand it. And I think I did ask him. I have to go back and listen to see what his answer was. I would love to see a variant. Same here. Same here. Same here. I need to see my guy, and I know he's not everybody's pick, but I would love to see um, I can't believe I'm blanking on my guy's name. Aldous Hodge. step into the role. He brought a lot of T'Challa energy to me when I saw him in Black Adam. He's just a lot of T'Challa energy, and I would love to see that in the Marvel film. Um, so many more Black Panther stories need to be told. I'm cool with a recast. Yeah, there's a lot of great Black Panther stories, and there's a lot of Black Panther fans. Not everybody has to be a fan of the character, right? Like, not everybody's a fan of Spawn, not everybody's a fan of Superman, not everybody's a fan of Supergirl. But that just because you're not a fan doesn't mean you have to admonish or denounce someone else for having a movie based off a character they like. Let them cook, let us cook. We got T'Challa fans here. Let us rock. So yeah, I definitely would love to see this character continue. Favorite Superman 2, like mine, is Christopher Reeves. I love Christopher Reeves. I do. Unfortunately, I also really loved Dean Cain as Superman. I can't rock with Dean Cain as much as I used to. I think some of his remarks are a little hard for me. But I still have very fond memories as a child watching Dean Cain as Superman in the show Lois and Clark. Like I loved that show with Terry Hatcher growing up and everything that happened in that show. So, and he looked great as Superman. It was just, I was a really impressionable age. He was a great Superman to me. I know when I got introduced to Christopher Reeve as Superman, it was like toward the latter end of his career. I think Superman 4 was coming out, The Quest for Peace, and people were like, nah. Yes, recast. Yeah, bring it back. That's what I say. I love when a character goes through multiple actors: Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, Flash. It's yes, recast the Flash. Please recast that. Get that man, them, they. Please recast the Flash. Grant Gustin was fine. I don't think he should be in the movie, but he was fine on TV. And I love that it went through Wesley Shipp, Grant Gustin, Ezra Miller, and others. But yeah, bring it back. Blade is a great segment. I think about it every time I see or hear about Ryan Reynolds or the great late Chris Christopherson. Yeah, I mean, he was more than a segment for me. Like, I know he was a segment in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, but that first Blade movie was so amazing to me. First off, it introduced me to Stephen Dorff. I love Stephen Dorff as an actor. Second off, it piqued Wesley Snipes. Like, he was already doing amazing work, right? He was already cooking as an actor. My man was rocking it as an actor. Then he came through and gave us Blade. He took all his martial arts prowess, all his abilities and comedy timing and all that stuff and made an amazing character. Loved it. So yeah, R.I.P. Superman. Yeah, R.I.P. Christopher Reeve, right? Superman's still alive, right? The character and the actor are not the same, and which is kind of my point. When Christopher Reeve left the role, other people got to inherit it, and they got glow ups, right? Their careers went in. They got a lot more attention to their careers. I don't think anybody knew who David Cornsweet was until this. Matter of fact, I met David Cornsweet before he was Superman, and now I'm like, man, I wish I would have known. Like I met him at the We Own This City premiere. We Own This City is a HBO show's kind of spiritual successor to The Wire, and he was in the show. I didn't even know. I'm sitting here just rocking with John Bernthal, like, oh my gosh, the Punisher, the Punisher. I didn't know Superman was right there. But yeah, that's what it was. Nobody was checking for David Cornsweet at that carpet. Now they do. Um, Todd didn't like the movie. He wanted to be more comic animated series. I agree. He didn't like the movie, but he promoted it when it came out, right? At the end of the day, Todd McFarlane is more like Stan Lee than most people talk about. He's a salesman. When the movie was coming out, he's hyping that joint up. Look at the cape. Look at the cape. You see all the CGI animation in the cape? This is the most CGI ever in a movie. He was selling the hell out of that movie. But in hindsight, after it came out and they lost so much money, he started to be a little bit more honest. Tom Welling was my Smallville. See? Yeah, Tom Welling, we know his name because of Superman, and they passed that mantle on from Christopher Reeve. So shout out to Tom Welling, and shout out to the folks at DC for being willing to recast roles and letting their characters live. Yes, I'd love to see Aldous Hodge play a version of Black. You know what? Let me see if I got this. Where did I put this? Matter of fact, let me show y'all something real quick. Because I talk about this stuff and I'll be like, oh, I met this person, I met that person, and maybe you guys would like to see some of this stuff because I just I just keep it on my phone. I don't be sharing stuff. Maybe I shared it. I don't remember. I know I shared the when I met Harold, but I don't know if I shared this. See how quickly I could do this. Bear with me. I see this is the tangents. And some of y'all love this, right? Y'all be catching me off guard and be like, oh, love when we catch you slipping, make you think. I love it too. But sometimes I like to be a little bit more prepared. All right, let me see if I can do this very, very quickly. Right? Where you at? Did you do it? No. Of course you didn't do it, right? You gotta embarrass me. Here we go. Let me do this real quick. And then let me get back to what we were looking at. Right? Tell me that ain't some Black Panther energy. Tell me that ain't some Black Panther energy. Right? Don't my man just got that T'Challa energy? Love it. Love it. So yeah, I just want to put that up there for a quick second and let me get back to what we was doing, right? Let's get back to our regularly scheduled program. Um what else is going on in the world of news? Loved Dean Cain when I was a kid. Then it was Tom Welling when I was a teenager. Current favorite is Henry Cavill. I respect it. Yo, when Henry Cavill showed up at the end of Black Adam, I screamed. I screamed. I was like, yes, we're finally on track. The Rock is saving the DCEU, and then it didn't happen. But I'm with you. Henry Cavill was that dude. Henry Cavill was that dude. Um, let's see. I like him as the character, even though he's not such a nice person. He did do good. Anyway, Ezra. I didn't like Ezra as the Flash at all. Like not even a little bit. Mainly because they gave him the title of Barry Allen. If they would have said he was Wally West, I would have been like, oh, this makes sense because he was definitely giving me a lot of Wally West vibes in his portrayal of the character. But as Barry Allen, I thought it was off. It just wasn't what I wanted to see. I think Grant Gustin did a much better job as Barry Allen as a forensic officer and all that stuff. And then it was actually a story about anyway. Going off on a tangent. Flash movie maybe a few years away, so probably, but I don't think we should. I think we should just recast the Flash and just wash it away. Um, yeah, but he is Superman, though. I know the rest that play Superman, all Superman. Not many of them get to play them. No, yeah, let them all look. Do it. Let these dudes be Superman. Let's get as many Supermen as we like. I think Tyler Hoechlin. I think that's his name. Hoechlin. Yo, this man is cooking on that CW show. Yo, I wasn't even watching. And then one day on my Instagram feed, they just showed me a little bit of the scenes of him fighting Doomsday. And I was like, what the? I wasn't watching. Why was I not watching this? Why didn't anybody tell me? Like, oh my gosh, it looked amazing. It looked so good. I was so excited. But man, yeah, I want to watch that show. I want to watch that. I hear good things about it too. Superman and Lois. I'm like, it's a spin on Lois and Clark, but yeah, let's see. It's one of them shows. Like, as soon as it hits Netflix, I'm binging it. Um, let's see. Let's see. I went into the store and missed some stuff, Michael. I didn't say Black Panther was the first Black Marvel. It was a lot of Black people's first Marvel. Blade came out when I was 2. Yeah. Well, it's generational, right? Like I'm older, so I got to see Spawn and Blade when they came out in theaters. I'm that old. But there were black superheroes before that. I remember it was like Meteor Man, Blank Man, Robert Townsend, and Damon Wayans were doing great things with these characters and trying to have superheroes and uh, black superheroes in film and stuff. So that was really cool. So for some people it was Meteor Man, for some people it was Spawn, for some people it was Blade. It's generational. There's not, none of these guys are the first. Um, Man, it makes me feel. Me too. Me too. I got gray hairs, bro. Me too. Um, Man, you know I love you, but you too short to play T'Challa. I'm too short, but Aldous Hodge could do it. Not me, Aldous. Aldous could do it. He's got the height. Yeah, Aldous. Yo, go back and watch Black Adam, and try not to watch it for the movie, but try to watch it and say, hey, is Aldous Hodge coming off like a T'Challa? If you watch it with that lens, you're like, oh my gosh, he is T'Challa. Just minus the wings. Just watch it. Um, that's thank you, Kayla. Let me know what you think about it after you watch it. Please let me know. Reckon when Gunn gets to the Flash movie, Wally West as the main, but I reckon we'll have multiple. Good. Multiple Flashes is great. I want to see Jay Garrick Flash. I want to see Barry Allen Flash. I want to see Wally West. I want to see Wallace West. I want to see all of them. Bring out the Flash family, because when they bring out Batman, they're having the whole Bat family, right? We're gonna have Nightwing. We're gonna have Jason Todd. We're gonna have Damian Wade, and we're probably gonna have Tim Drake too. So we're probably gonna have the whole gang. Bring out the Flash family. I support this. Wash away any memory of the old Ezra Miller. Thank you. Uh, Only reason Henry Cavill got an actor was because Russell Crowe talked to him at school. He wasn't going to enact, and he was an elite football player. I saw that. And then he was like, and they met each other years later. That actually showed up on my feed recently. And he was like, who are you? And you look familiar. He's like, yeah, you talked to me when I was in school. And he was like, whoa, so shout out to Russell Crowe for being that positive influence on him. It's great when we see actors help up and coming actors, like with Denzel and Chadwick and Russell Crowe and Henry Cavill. I love that. I love when we see it happen, because it inspires them, right? It could be that little bit, extra bit of motivation they need to go forward in their career. So yeah, me and my daughter used to fight over Tom Welling. I understand, he is dreamy. Nobody's saying shit about Brandon Routh, but he is dreamy. Let me see. I hate Superman and Lois on the CW. Used to love Supergirl and Flash, but both went downhill towards the end. I watched the first 2 seasons of Supergirl. It was solid. It was a solid show. Flash, I watched from beginning to end. By the time I got to like season 5, I was in too deep. There was no way I wasn't finishing it. I had to, and just hope the Reverse Flash would show back up to bring things up to another level. But yeah, let me go ahead and switch. Have I been watching Creature Commandos? I didn't watch the finale yet. Please do not spoil the finale for me. I watched everything but the finale. I'm keeping up with it. I hope Vince is watching from New Blurred Order. I like Creature Commandos. I said it. I like a James Gunn project. I really, really like Creature Commandos, like a lot. Not a little bit, a lot. I like Creature Commandos. I said it. I like a James Gunn project. Vince always gets on me for saying I don't be rocking with James Gunn like that. And he don't always put out stuff that vibes with me. Creature Commandos is the exception. I really liked it, except for the adult stuff. They didn't have to do all that sex, but this is where we at. Nick Hewitt, thank you for coming through. Appreciate you as always. Hope you're having a wonderful Thursday night. Listen, I know it's not our normal Mondays. Life got out of control this week, but we're all together. I'm glad we were able to get together this week. I have not yet seen Unhinged on Netflix. I kind of will admit I stepped away from Russell Crowe movies. It felt like lately, and a lot of actors do this when they're in their latter year stages of their career. Like when they're in their mid-age and stuff, they like really are particular with the roles they take, and it feels like as they get older and later years in life, they're just like, yo, I'm just doing it for the money. I'm just here for the paycheck. And I felt like Russell Crowe was falling into that boat where he was just putting out films that weren't of the same quality that I loved him for, and I just kind of stopped watching his projects. Let's see. I got season 8 and bowed out when Flash saved the day against the Mirror Woman by asking her nicely. I understand. I totally understand. I don't blame you. I'm not going to try to convince you to go back and finish it. I get it. Speaking of Henry, what do you think around seasons he left Witcher, and what are your thoughts on actors who know canon versus writers who aren't aware of it? I respect it. I get it. I thought he was. Here's my thing with The Witcher. Never really appealed to me. Like I watched it and I tried to watch it. I was like, oh, they're trying to make their own Game of Thrones on Netflix. It just didn't connect with me. I didn't like the writing in the show at all. Um, it just felt all over the place. I couldn't keep track of the time skips and the multiple timelines, and why are we at this dinner, and where did he get this magical item, and why is he fighting this monster? Like with certain shows, like I remember when I was a kid, it was like Hercules, The Legendary Journeys with Kevin Sorbo. You just knew it was a villain of the week format. He's going to do this at the beginning, he's going to get there at the end, and then maybe there was like overarching story underneath it all. Right, we got to take out Hera, we got to take out Ares, we got to do this. I could not figure out what the hell was going on in The Witcher. And that could just be on me, or maybe it was just for people who were really in tune with the lore. I wasn't. I was walking into it fresh. I never played the video games. I missed it. I thought Henry was great in the role. And I do respect him leaving it for the reasons he did, because, why not? He has that right. Um, but I think the show is going to be different without him. I don't know if it's going to have the same reaction in his absence. All right, let me start to move on. You have to finish it. Oh, don't finish. You don't have to finish the Flash, but I understand if you do. I will say, it got weird when XS showed up. I was like, who? Who the hell is XS? Who is this girl? I didn't know who she was. Let me see. Anyway, let me move on a little bit. I've been on this for a little bit. We're recasting T'Challa. The other thing I wanted to touch on is recast.